to change that, to improve the situation for everyone. And this is where my lovely colleague comes in.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ayman from Morocco. So during our collaboration, we focused on how to reduce our carbon footprint. So we have used some simulators that, after showing us the impact we were causing to our planet, have given us a lot of solutions to mitigate it. For example, raising awareness in our school community, or reducing our meat consumption, taxing industries that emit poisonous gases, and having some strict laws to protect our precious forests. I'll now pass it out to my friend.
Hi everyone, I'm Marlon from Kenya, and I'll be talking about the second half of the equation, which is decolonize. So to decolonize is to allow a colony or territory to become self-governing or independent. And so, just like Marcus said, when talking about decolonization, first we have to take a step back and talk about colonizing. And so it's of course the opposite of decolonizing, and although many of us think that it doesn't really affect in our livelihoods right now, it still affects the environment, native communities, and colonization. And so Frank Fanon once wrote that imperialism leaves behind gems of rot that need to be clinically protected and rooted in our mindsets. Some of these gems, although we might not see in our day-to-day lives, do exist, and some of them include the education system. In recent years, countries like Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, and South Africa have been trying to redirect the education system to focus more on the country itself and its history. Since being in Kenya, I've noticed my peers love to set themselves to the Western standard of life. So you can see in the way that they dress, in the way that they decide to talk, and in avoiding, for example, our national language. Another gem includes colonized countries sitting back and waiting for the colonizers to make the decisions for them. So I'm guessing everyone here has learned to ride a bike. So if you learned it the way that I did, you get on the bike, your parents hold your hand for long enough, and then eventually they let go and let you make your own decisions. And just like in life, if you fall, they pick you back up, they brush you off, and encourage you to get right back on the bike. And so that's the way that we grow as people and that we're supposed to grow as nations. So colonized countries are afraid to let go of the hand. We're afraid to fall down. And because of this, we've gotten used to sitting back and letting the colonizers make the big decisions for us. And so I could go on and on about the various gems, but it would take up all of your time. And so in short, a decolonized mind is one that accepts their past, loves their future, loves their present, and creates their own future, therefore no longer letting their past define their future. And so we realize that decarbonization and decolonization need to work together hand in hand in order for both to be effective and long-lasting, just the way that we should work together.
Hi, I'm Claire from the United States, and I will be speaking about the themes that we focused on throughout this project. This wordle, the collection of words you can see on the screen, is a summary of the main ideas and terms we have learned and researched through our work on decarbonization and decolonization. The theme that we most frequently identified was that of our our country's indigenous communities, and how colonization not only contributed to climate change, but to them personally. While indigenous voices are important, they are often ignored by nation leaders and companies. For example, in the U.S. government wanted to install a pipe called the Dakota Access Pipeline to transfer crude oil from the Bakken oil fields in western Dakota to southern Illinois, over 1,000 miles. This pipe would cross beneath the Mississippi and Missouri rivers and a part of Lake Oahe, which is near the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. Standing Rock tribe members didn't want this pipe to be installed because it would destroy their ancient burial grounds, as well as risk contaminating their region's clean water. A Sioux elder led a peaceful protest to protect his people's culture and to resist against this project. People from around the world heard about this and came to support them by camping side by side with the Native Americans. Even with this international support, the Sioux Nation's voices were ignored, and the pipeline was built anyway. Thank you, and now I'll pass it on to Brendan.
Hi everyone, I'm Brendan from Australia, and I'll be talking about the process we underwent over the course of this project. The process of this project was all based around collaborative work. The Taking It Global website was used as an information hub where all students involved were able to write, create, and share blogs, images, and art. We will set out a number of activities as you can see here, which we used as a framework to focus blogs around similar ideas. The key research points were shared climate issues, Indigenous responses, impact upon Indigenous communities, and certain case studies from around the world. We also created a survey and shared it around to see if the wider community knew about climate change and how they felt about it. Additionally, in each of our own countries, we set out on different action projects and participated in web conferences, which Marlon and Tharanen will talk about later. In the end, we collected and collated all our work to create conclusive blogs of our findings. The most interesting thing was that we were able to see all these blogs from people around the world, and then now I can finally meet with them here. Here are 2 blogs of our perspectives on climate change prior to working on this project. All of our blogs can be found by searching the Decarbonize, Decolonize and going to the TIGED website. I will now pass it on to Tharanen.
Good morning, I'm Tharanen from India. So the online conferences brought young minds from all over the world who shared and expressed their concerns on major climatic challenges which they face in their respective countries. This also became a platform to share and express the repercussions and solutions for these challenges. This the amalgamation of thoughts, questions, future solutions, and predictions led to the writing of blogs both individually and in groups. Thus, all of these people stayed up late at night, some sang, and some compiled, all for one purpose, to heal the world. I now pass it on to Aldi.
Hello everyone, my name is Aldi, I'm from Indonesia. Today I want to talk about art in climate change in #decolonize, #decarbonize. Students who come from around the world asked us to submit features that are relating to climate change. The creators are online, on paper, on canvas, all types of art were submitted. Then they submitted pictures of their art for the world to see. The art pictures highlight indigenous people, decolonization, decarbonization, that are coming together as global citizens. Concerning of art in decolonize and decarbonize, we focus on how to reduce the effect of climate change. Decolonize and decarbonize express many kinds of art. They talk about the effect of climate change on indigenous people, earth pollution, hope for a better future. To look at what students have created, please come to the gallery from Decolonize and Decarbonize and Decarbonize. The next speaker to Fabrizio, my friend.
Hi, my name is Fabrizio. I'm from Peru. In each of the pieces, we see different perspectives because the students are creating their artwork in different contexts. Children expresses knowledge about climate change, even if students don't understand, but they do. They use spread in another way. Deforestation, climate change, overplanet destruction. Industries are taking over. Land clearing, grid consumption, individualism ignores global issues. Thanks. Next is my friend.
Good morning, I'm Taranam again. As my friend from India had quoted, art is the language of the soul. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Artwork expresses what goes through a person's mind and helps him to share his thoughts and perspectives. And as you can see, these are some beautiful pictures. Thank you.
So as Eamon talked about earlier, there are things that we can do individually to help in climate action. And so some of the students here have taken up action projects in their own countries in order to start fighting the battle. So I'll invite Rowena to start talking about the work with the anniversary.
Hello, me again. I'm here to talk about what my school, Pimlico State High School, has done. So basically, in the course of the last couple of weeks, we had invited little primary school kids, so about year 5 and year 6 kids, over to our school and we talked about climate change. So we kind of briefly explained our project and our input on the world, and then we got them to do a survey about their perspectives. Now, because these are young children and they don't quite get engaged as easily, we made a little game. So when they finished, we gave them a tiny little turtle, which would symbolize hope and just that we could possibly change the world. I will now pass it on to USA. Hi, my name is Anushka and I'm from the US. Our carbon emissions reduction project is the elimination of single-use plastic straws. Just in the US, a staggering 500 million plastic straws are used every day, which is over 1.5 plastic straws per person. Not only is the production of these straws adding to the world's carbon emissions, but they are also harmful to our environment because they aren't biodegradable and they create more trash. In addition, they pose a significant danger to wildlife, especially marine animals. For example, many straws get stuck in the noses of sea turtles and cause them to suffocate or consumed by the animals, causing significant suffering before death. In an effort to do our part, Bullis Charter School is making a commitment to eliminate plastic straw usage by distributing reusable glass straws. Through a NOAA, the National Oceans and Atmospheric Administration grant, we have purchased glass straws that will be handed out to our staff and students. Prior to receiving these, they will be required to provide base data about their past disposable straw usage. Recipients will also have the opportunity to personalize their glass straws in hopes that this will increase the chances they will actually use them. We plan on following up with these people on a regular basis to continue to gather data in order to determine if owning glass straws actually makes a difference in their use of single-use plastics. If this is successful, our plan is to take the program out to the community and to distribute reusable glass straws at town events and at our local coffee venues. By cutting down on single-use straw usage, we hope to slow the growth of the plastic straw industry, prevent plastics from harming wildlife, and reduce our school and the community's carbon footprint. Next, we will be hearing about an action project from India.
Good morning, I'm Tarnim once again. So what I'm going to speak about is the Rally of Rivers, which was started by Sadhguru, whose actual name is Jaggi Vasudev. So to take away a misconception, it is not a protest, it's a campaign started by him. India is an agricultural country, so more than 65% of the water needs are met by the rivers. And then due to large-scale deforestation, it leads to soil erosion, which leads to water sinking to the ground, and then all the water goes away into the sea. So this leads to drying up of rivers, and then farmers do not have enough water to plant crops. So as I said, there's one important cause, that is deforestation. And to stop this, we have already started there are two ways of stopping it. The first is reforestation, so that the roots hold the soil and there's no soil erosion and the water comes back to the rivers again. And the second part is linking of rivers. So there are two big rivers called Ganga and Narmada, which have been joined recently. Ganga has excess water while Narmada is lacking water. So the excess water from that river flows into Narmada, hence making the banks fertile. And yeah, I pass it on to Andy. Thank you.
Okay, good morning again. Exploring natural resources is being a daily activity in many countries, which is contribute climate change. Indonesia has two big issues in related with climate change. Deforestation to be palm oil company and deforestation to be mining area. It can be mining of gold, copper, coal, and etchers. In one side, it brings some advantage, especially the growth of social economics. But on the other side, it gives and fostering the production of carbon dioxide, air, water, and sound pollution. As a student and a youth, we have to take an action to minimize the effect the climate change in student authority which concern and sustain to keep clean our school, environment, and also the cleanliness after or before class. As we are talking about action project, it is better to inform where is my school located. It located around 270 kilometers from Central and also located in coal mining surround. There are two types of coal mining company in that is coal mining belongs to our government and private coal mining company. The second one company is actually gives an environment problems such as water pollution, air pollution, and deforestation. Especially our school which concern also technology, geology, mining, and energy want to talk and action how to minimize the effect of climate change by learn and practice a good mining practice. Educate students as miner to be will apply a good mining practice. When a miner do a good mining practice, the environment will be safe from the distribution. We also want to be find as new natural energy. Talking and research competition on energy applied technology and waste management is called annual. What is okay, alright. I'm sorry. Okay. They in many group to try to find by calculating and do some experiment to get a new resource of energy. They ask fruit and food and find out we successful to change water acid as the danger waste of coal mining to be an electrical energy. Okay, the next speaker, my friend.
Anyway, so about a year ago, I have a good habit of stumbling into extracurriculars by mistake. So over lunch, I was walking around and I saw my friends talking to some dude. So me and my curiosity asked what it is, and I stumbled across an organization called Stand Up Shout Out. And it's an organization in Kenya that encourages youth to use their voice for something. And so they take part in various activities. So they have marches for rhinos and elephants. They have planting trees and so much more. And so this year at school, on the last day, we had fun activities like a barbecue and football tournaments to raise money in order to plant 100 trees at Karura Forest, which is a local forest in Nairobi. And so we raised the money and we ended up postponing the date for the planting for various reasons, which turned out to be a good thing because an organization approached them to plant 10,000 trees on top. And so today's 4th. In the next 2 days, they shall be planting those 10,000 trees in Nairobi between 6 and 11, and the planting will be purely done by the youth. And so overall, as you can see, we realized that we can actually do something if we actually make an effort to. And that, because I initially thought that I couldn't do anything. I'm too young, I probably didn't know enough, and they wouldn't take me seriously. But then I was put in the right environment and around the right people, and I had the opportunity to end up planting these trees. And so I encourage all of you, which you probably have done, to also take up an action project and do something in your own community.
Hi, my name is Marisol. I am from Costa Rica and I will be talking about indigenous communities. Me and my classmates from Costa Rica were able to visit 2 indigenous communities, the Borucas and the Terrabas. So when we went there, we talked to them about climate change and what they think about it and how it has affected them. And we also were able to hear some of their stories. They told us about how they have been completely left out and they have been ignored because they just chose a different lifestyle. We also heard of how some of them have even gotten into jail because they were trying to defend their territories. It's important that we remember that they are also part of the country, they are also citizens, because sometimes, as I said before, we forget that and we leave them out when we should instead use their knowledge. For example, in Costa Rica, there are people from indigenous communities who still don't have an ID. Sadly, in many occasions, people from indigenous communities are the ones that are mostly affected by climate change effects because they live near the nature, so they get affected mostly, but they are also the ones who have the solutions. So it's important that we use their knowledge and that we take them into account and we use their knowledge for good.
Hi, my name is Anushka and I'm from the United States. Denial of climate change is something our group has become more aware of during our work. A pattern we noticed is that in most countries, the belief that climate change is a hoax can be present at many levels of society, from government leaders to large corporations to individuals. For example, in the United States, our present administration adamantly refutes the presence of climate change, but this perspective is not new for our government. From 2003 to 2007, the United States Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works was chaired by climate change skeptic Jim Inhofe. He again chaired the committee from 2015 to 2017, when he was succeeded by yet another denier. Since the government can have a great influence on not only setting policy, but also the opinions of its citizens, this sustained attack creates additional skepticism as we try to spread awareness. For example, according to the Huffington Post, the number of Americans that question the science behind climate change has increased since September 2016. Now, fewer than a third of Americans believe that there are scientific reasons behind climate change. Such attitudes make it harder to pass laws, as politicians are less willing to support policies that aren't reflective of their constituents' views. As Mohammed Jama from Kenya put it, the greatest threat to humanity isn't climate change, but the negligence of the problem itself. Mame from Ghana will continue with more personal reflections.
Hi everyone, I'm Mame Ajua from Ghana. But before I start my presentation, I want to ask you guys this question. How many of you think that your voice is a very powerful or puissant tool? So I'm guessing the rest of you think otherwise. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is the power of youth in addition to awareness and education. The youth are the future population of this earth, and so basically, they are the victims of the effects our activities incur. We have the right and the ability to decide our future. In other words, our actions and our voices as a whole is very powerful.
The youth, according to the UN, can be a creative force and a dynamic source of innovations. In addition to this, they have undoubtedly, throughout history, participated, contributed, and even catalyzed important changes in political systems, power-sharing dynamics, and economic opportunities. As of 2011, the world population was 7 billion, of which 1.8 billion were between the ages of 10 to 24. In light of this, we the youth are very influential as we have the potential to disrupt inertia and also be the most creative force for social change. We have the choice to continue the ways of our fathers and or create our own effective and eco-friendly lifestyle. However, how are we expected to innovate these ways to reduce the rate of climate change if we are not educated, or even worse, aware of what is termed climate change? How do we reduce the anthropogenic activities if we have no idea what they are? The power of advocacy and education is massive. It's rather unfortunate that most indigenous people, especially those in Ghana, are uneducated and unaware. This connection can be seen in illegal mining, where people are tricked because they're uneducated, and they follow put because they're unaware. Most older people do not believe or are not aware of climate change. Nonetheless, we the youth have the opportunity to be aware and educated on this. In other words, we have the ability to speak and advocate to these people, as we can relate to them, and best of all, we have the energy. So in conclusion, we must not host the misconception that young people should not have a say when it comes to the problems of the world. But we must embrace our power and change the world with our numbers, join forces, and educate each other to save the planet. So leave the rest to Audi.
Hi, me and my friends have chosen this picture, this art, because it has a deep meaning, and each one of us can see it differently. Some may see a kid looking back at what former generations have made from our world. Others can see an adult looking back at what he did to our world and regretting it because fire is already on. This picture reminds me of how some kids look at the world being destroyed without acting. And as my friend Mame said, this has to change, and youth's voice need to be heard. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Oh, we have a question, you guys.
Yeah. So how is it to finally meet after having been working on such a project for such a long time?
Oh, amazing. I mean, we did all these web conferences and we saw these faces on screens, and it's pretty amazing to see the faces in real life, if you get what I mean. And it's just,
Especially if you're like her and you wake up in 3 in the morning for the conferences.
yeah, people down south in the southern hemisphere had to be up at about 12 a.m. That to 3 a.m. and stuff. So we put in a lot of hard work, and it's great to finally be here and to really see each other.
The amazing thing is that at the first day it was a bit, we felt like we recognized each other, but then after a few hours we felt like we are a family.
What's the age range of you guys? How old are you?
13 and 16.
Wait, do we want to go around and say each of our ages?
Yeah.
So do you want to start?
Start with that and your age.
I'm 14.
I'm 16.
16,
14. 15.
13,
17.
16.
16, 13.
16.
15.
16.
What's the plans for the future? How will this project go on after the conference?
Well, we're not actually just here for play, we're also here for COP23. So in the next couple of days, we'll be writing the white paper, which is a document which will be sent off to United Nations.
Yeah.
Yep, which will be sent off to United Nations, and there we will list our solutions and how we hope to help. And if United Nations agrees, then it'll actually happen.
Yeah. And when I go back to Canada, we're planning on presenting to our school and doing many action projects. For example, making a book that relates to climate change, and it's a bunch of pictures, and it includes different languages, and it really represents a lot of Indigenous people and relates to climate change. And it'll be distributed to all schools in my city. Also, we're hoping to present to our Senate, maybe, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we also plan to implement the study of climate change to our school in Costa Rica, and we're very excited to make people aware of the issues of climate change and what different people in the rest of the world think about it, and what indigenous communities think and say that we should do. Alright.
We are planning to, I'm also from Costa Rica, we are planning to continue the project, and as we said before, we have different action projects that we want to have in Costa Rica.
Kenya is planning to continue with the tree planting, and we're also going to have workshops where we provide for little girls sanitary products while educating them on sustainability.
In India, the chief ministers of all the states are also coming up with reforms, radical reforms, to control climate change. And the Hyderabad Public School, where I study, we have this week called the Green Week. So we plant saplings because our school is vast and there's a lot of greenery in our school. So that is the carbon sink of our area.
Well, in Australia, we'll be continuing for the next couple of years. So I'm currently in grade 10, and in year 11 and 12, I will be doing a project called Plan for the Planet, and that focuses on collaboration with the Australian Prime Minister, and we'll be again finding solutions to climate change. And when I'm in grade 12, I'll be going. Well, one of us in our project will be going to New York to hand in another document to the United Nations.
Indonesia focuses about the renewable energy research and to doing good mining practice.
In the U.S., we created several action project proposals, and we'll be putting those into action and also educating our community about what we learned and share.
And we in Slovenia will have now later this year we have a model United Nations, and we also have an environment committee where we'll like raise awareness and discuss about global environmental issues, including climate change. And we also have a project called the project, in which the first graders, each year they come, the second graders this year I presented to them what we did. We have different topics, either forests and waters and different problems, global problems, and then they do research the whole year. We had forests this year. We like invited a lumberjack who like explained to us why it's bad that like things happen in woods and whatnot, and then the project always culminates in planting a sapling.
I'll say from the organization's perspective, from the Center for Global Education and Taking It Global, who worked with these students. This is an annual project, so we're already planning for COP24, and we've learned from these students about the issues of the links between decarbonizing and decolonizing, and hope to work more closely with Indigenous communities next year under Indigenous leadership, taking forward some of the students' ideas into our organization as well. So, yeah, they've done good work.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was wondering about the indigenous communities. Are any of you from indigenous communities, or how did you incorporate their voices into your project?
I'm from Morocco, and there is like an indigenous community called Amazigh and Berber community. My father is from those communities, so I speak their language, and I like every years I go to those communities, I speak with them, so I know what they think, and I share those ideas with you today.
I'm not from an Indigenous community, but in Australia we have two Indigenous communities. We have the Torres Strait and Aboriginals. And to input their ideas, we actually talk to them, and we talk to a professor who worked with them in Mount Isa.
I am also from an Indigenous community, but it's my dad, and he's been working with the governments to give that community more of a voice in governing the country.
We from Costa Rica went to the communities she mentioned and asked them about their opinion and how we could like solve some problems of climate change. And we got their opinions, and we plan on going back there and hear more and learn about them. And yeah, I think that it's really important to hear them because, as she said, they are connected, more connected to the nature. They know what to do, what to plant. For example, they told us that they had a river that was drying up and had plenty of fish, and now it doesn't. So they were planning on planting new species of trees, especially some, like one species that can somehow clean the water. But they know that that tree can be near the other one, that does the same job, and so on. They know what they're working with, and I think that we should use the knowledge in our work. And during our blogs, we talked about their point of view and doing our investigations too.
In Canada, I've been talking with many Aboriginal counselors and friends and really getting their perspective. Also doing a lot of research is also important to really make sure that you understand their side of you.
Yeah. I'm the Canadian teacher. I am Métis myself, so that's kind of First Nations, Métis, Inuit is our encompassing Indigenous community. So I've been working and speaking to a lot of Indigenous communities and connecting all of our students and teachers with their voices as well. So.
Back in India, even there are these teams called the climate relief teams, and there's one sector called the indigenous sector. So these teams are venturing into the forest so that they can understand the difficulties that the indigenous tribes in the forest are going through, and then help them out.
Any other
questions?
No? All right.
Well,
let's give a hand.
I think what we can do, because we still have time in the room, is if you want to chat with people one-on-one, because they all have such different stories, and we can hang out here and talk, and or you could go. Yep. we have a booth all day also outside, so if you want to meet us there.
Photos,
Yeah, we'll have time to take them. Yeah.
Yeah.